and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 259 for the week of May 3rd, 2016. My name's Ryan Higgins, who's here with me this week.
Brock Sager.
Hello.
Toby.
Hey, it's Toby. He's awake.
And Charlie.
Charlie, what's happening? We got a very special guest with us this week. Who's here?
Chris Noyes.
Chris, welcome back.
Thank you.
We must be talking Star Wars.
Newlywed Chris Noyes.
Yep. Well,
You had a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago, right?
Two
at this
and a
point?
half- two and a half weeks.
Yeah, fairly newlywed.
yeah, we can talk about my Star Wars themed wedding.
With May the 4th right around the corner, what a great day to talk about your Star Wars themed wedding. You love Star Wars.
You brought us some
I
jelly
did.
beans
I
that
do.
are themed Star Wars.
Yes, I brought you jelly beans that are wrapped in Star Wars wrapping. They're pretty good.
I'll take some of those home.
My kids will like it.
How was your Star Wars? I know how your Star Wars themed wedding was. I was there. It was really good.
Yeah. So,
What did you think of your Star Wars themed wedding?
I enjoyed it. I had a great time. It's funny. The wedding was at a yacht club / golf course, so we were going for like a nautical theme. And a week before Star Wars came out in December, my wife's mom, my mother-in-law now, was like, "Let's do a Star Wars themed wedding. That'd be fun."
So they were up for it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It wasn't even my idea. I was just planning on having, maybe wear some socks or have like cufflinks,
Yeah.
Something low key. And she's like, "No, let's do a Star Wars themed wedding." I'm like, "All right." Hey,
I don't have to twist my arm.
yeah, if you're in on it, I'm in on it. So we did. Well, we got all the clothing for the groomsmen and the bridesmaids to wear. So the groomsmen all had. She likes to make bow ties, so she made bow ties out of Star Wars cloth or felt or whatever. We had, again, socks. We had normal tie, Star Wars themed ties for male family members to wear. I wore a tie to be different than the groomsmen. Allie's uncle did the ceremony. He had a tie on. The girls...
Yeah, I was hoping for Vader doing the ceremony. a spoiler.
Close. You're getting there.
Spoiler. Okay, sorry.
So the girls all had, the bridesmaids all had a stormtrooper helmet pendant that they wore.
Oh.
Their bouquet holders were PVC pipe that we dressed up as lightsabers.
Nice.
And then the groomsmen actually walked in with fake, Target or Toys R Us plastic lightsabers that lit up when you press a button and made lightsaber sounds, which was really cool.
Those are not fake. They're just not as fancy.
That's true. At the wedding site, so at the actual ceremony site, that was about it for the reception. The table centerpieces were pots that we painted to look like characters. So we had Vader, Kylo Ren, R2-D2, C-3PO, BB-8, Stormtrooper, Phasma, Akbar, Yoda, Chewie,
Nice.
Princess Leia.
No Boba Fett?
We had Boba.
Okay.
Is there anyone else? I think that was it.
Gotta have Boba Fett.
Yeah. The hardest
Did you have
ones.
Greedo?
No, the hardest ones to do were Chewie and Akbar, because those are like actual faces, not just a mask that you can kind of paint on a pot. Also, the pots are round and not, they're conical shaped, so it made like drawing the design on them difficult, but it turned out really well. Oh, Allie's shoes were. Her sister painted them to look like R2-D2, and kind of the theme was "I love you, I know." So that was on each of her shoes. There were pins that we made for the groomsmen to wear, like in place of a boutonniere. And so what Allie's mom did is that she bought shower curtain rings and we cut off the hook, so it was just this black. It sort of reminded me of a Pog Slammer. And we had Empire logos and Rebellion logos. And so the guys all wore a Rebellion logo. And we like hot glued a safety pin on the back to pin it on. And then we gave away the Empire ones when we did a round of trivia at the
I was
reception.
going to say if the girls are Empire, that'd be kind of funny.
Well, they did have the Stormtrooper necklace.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what else. We had some other like random decorations at the reception site as well, but the main thing was
The big one.
So there were two things. We first tried to get the 501st to send 2 volunteers out to the wedding so that we could have stormtroopers there for pictures with people, and we just couldn't get anyone to come out. I don't know if it was a location issue because we were kind of far from most major, like the closest major city. We got in touch with them probably 6 weeks before the event, so it might have been also cutting it too close. But as it turns out, Allie's mom works with someone whose husband has a set of stormtrooper armor. They don't like it being called a costume. We learned that the hard way. So he had classic era stormtrooper armor. He had a blaster, and he had the orange like shoulder pad.
It's like the
Tatooine one.
The leader, right?
It's like some kind of rank symbol thing.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, we wanted a stormtrooper. We should invite them, and so we did. They came, and so he was there for the pictures that we did beforehand. He participated a little bit in the ceremony. He actually walked Allie's mom down the aisle and then hung out behind the like trestle that was set up. So he's in most of the shots. And then when we processed out, we actually did 2 processions. One where the groomsmen and bridesmaids went first, and they sort of lined up along the aisleway, and they did kind of like the military thing where they all raised their lightsabers and the lightsaber bouquets, and we walked underneath. And then we went back and did it again where we walked out arm in arm with the stormtrooper in between us. So we actually did 2 processions or recessions. And then he was around for pictures afterwards for about 20 minutes, and then he
was hot as hell in that thing.
It was, so we were in Bodega Bay, which is north of San Jose. It was on the beach at a golf course.
It was warm. It wasn't like horribly hot, but in that armor must have been.
Yeah, it was
30 degrees hotter.
It was probably about mid 70s. There was a nice breeze, sunny, but he said he felt fine. He said he has a little fan in the helmet to at least keep him cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
But the problem is they can't sit down, so he was on his feet for about maybe 70 minutes or so, and he was saying that after a couple hours you get really tired. So we were like, all right, well, you come, you do this, and then you can change and come to the reception in normal clothes. So so he came out, and that was great. And then probably the biggest surprise was Allie's dad walked her down the aisle wearing a Vader mask and a black cape.
Yes.
And so
No, wait. Was it the Imperial March that she walked into?
No.
she had her own song she wanted to go in with. That wasn't the
What did
Vader
she
March.
go into?
Let it go.
No, I can't remember. It was
You're already a great husband. You can't remember.
It was some song I think called like "Falling Softly." I think. But we went on YouTube and like downloaded a piano version of it. So.
It wasn't Star Wars, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We recessed out to the throne room theme from the end of episode 4. So we got our Star Wars in there. But
when he came out in that Vader mask, I saw you kind of go like, "Whoa!" Like you did not know that was coming.
So Allie's mom was like, "Hey, the last thing we have to do is we want to build this like folding screen to set up at the end of the aisle so people can get ready behind it and then step out in front." And it was all painted. And then they walk down the aisle, and she's like, so people can get ready in the back, and then, you have a backdrop to take a picture against. The whole point of doing that was to hide her dad dressing up as Vader, so I wouldn't see it. And it was funny because when she said, this is, the last thing we want to do, we want to make this for the wedding, I was like, do we really have to do this? Like, I'm so fucking tired of painting pots, and we built like an AT-AT out of potted plant box and PVC pipe to be more decoration. I was like, I'm so fucking tired of doing
You
this
just
shit.
didn't break down and buy the $200 and some odd dollar Lego version?
No, we spent about $40 on it. So, yeah, I was so tired of doing this, but everyone knew like what it was for except me, and so Allie was like, she had to really convince me to do it, and I was like, okay, fine, but I'm not doing anything else after this. So okay, that's fine. So yeah, he walked out around, and I had no idea. And so there's a few pictures of me just doubled over, standing up at the front, like literally bent at the waist with my hands on my knees, laughing because it was so unexpected. But yeah, so we did that, and then the reception wasn't really. There was Star Wars decorations, but there wasn't anything Star Wars really. They never actually played the Cantina theme, which we requested. So that was the only downside.
But when everyone was coming in, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be as the wedding party is introduced, they're playing the Cantina theme. And then Allie requested when we get introduced to play the Jurassic Park theme, which they did, but they didn't do the Cantina theme. So, and then I brought my Wii U, and we brought Smash and Mario Kart to play as well after dinner, which seemed like a big hit. So, yeah, that was my Star Wars wedding.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, you have May the 4th, this fake Star Wars holiday.
It's not fake. It's real.
Tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
So, you would think Marvel with the Star Wars comics, especially with the following on a Wednesday, would do something. But there's not even a Star Wars comic coming out tomorrow.
There is.
So
Poe Dameron.
Oh, Poe is coming out tomorrow. Yeah. But you'd think they would have done something. But what else is going on? Are you guys doing anything? You're telling me you were talking something about is this like a local?
Yeah, so I heard a local thing in Campbell, something called like Beer Fest or Beer Walk or something. But
Campbell does like beer crawls and like dancing in the drinking in the streets or dancing in the streets. I used to work at a bar downtown Campbell.
Yeah, so. It's something called either Beer Walk or Beer Fest, and it's because it's the May 4th. It's Star Wars themed. So
but it's not like an official thing or something.
I mean, not sanctioned by Disney or anything.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, really? They're doing like... I was like, that's weird.
It's the name of the event. They do other versions of this. I think it's because it's May. It's May 4th. They're doing a Star Wars themed version. So you pay your $40 entry fee. You get to walk around and get beer at different places. And you get a pint glass or a 20-ounce glass with like a stormtrooper. It looked like it was, etched into the glass.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. That seems like
kind of pricey.
Yeah, it seems too good for $40. So maybe it's just like painted on with lead paint that will kill people over 40 years. But that's all I know that's going on locally.
Yeah, I know Disneyland has something going on, but we're not down. I'm not going to be down there, obviously.
They'll have like a special pin.
Oh yeah, I think there's a couple pins. There's always pins, and I was surprised, because I know Alamo Drafthouse is going to have 4, 5, and 6 in the theater, but that's not.
Surprise me.
But that doesn't coincide with tomorrow, right?
I thought it was later, but
I think it's later. I think it's in the summer.
Yeah, but it doesn't surprise me if the Drafthouse would do something.
Yeah. Someone mentioned that to me, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll go to Drafthouse to watch 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, and they show the old school trailers on 35mm, which I thought was super cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just surprised. Surprised Disney hasn't done more stuff with it. And I'm surprised that, but maybe next year.
I know in previous years the Disney Store did all sorts of things. Yeah. I'm curious if they're doing anything this year.
I know the Lego Store has the new Star Wars Legos that came out today.
The day before,
and it was an exclusive. You had to sign up for it to be able to go shop in the Lego Store at the mall today. So there's
one of those early.
Yeah, it's like early release party things, but I guess they have all the new Star Wars Legos that are out tomorrow or today.
Well, maybe next year, Marvel and Star Wars will get
beer crawl.
Yeah,
but it's strange.
Drink like Hawkeye and Tony Stark.
It's not like Disney bought the IP 2 months ago. They've had it now for 3 years, 4 years. So
you'd think they would have figured.
Yeah, give them credit. They're busting out a movie a year.
Well, there's a Star Wars book coming out. There's a Star Wars book that came out today. The Star Wars canon book.
Probably.
That it may be more. It may be more a fan holiday anyway. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it is.
Well, with it's not like the people making the movies are involved in this. This is like Disney PR that deals with this stuff. It's not and like event coordinators. It's a whole other section. It's not like J.J. Abrams is down there like, oh, let's make some action figures. So maybe they'll do bigger stuff next year.
I mean, it does look like they're doing some exclusive action figures and stuff to the Disney Store tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. So,
You're just not special, Ryan. They don't want to do anything for you.
I specifically, the comic book seems like such an easy thing where they could be here's here's like a bunch of cheap number ones.
Well, don't worry. Next year they'll have it, and you can say because I said on the podcast.
There you go. We all know Marvel loves me.
Yeah.
Speaking of cheap comic books, a better day than the Force. Wait, what the hell is it called? Than May 4th.
May 4th.
Is this Saturday.
I am very curious about this beer crawl tomorrow, actually. If I wasn't on stakes, I would actually really be tempted to go.
The real comic book holiday is this upcoming Saturday, and that is the 15th annual Free Comic Book Day. We've been participating since the very first one. It has grown to massive numbers, and we don't even get big creators out here to do anything. I mean, we have some, Leanne, my wife, she comes down to Smart, one of our friends, Lane.
Oh, we're having the artists again?
Yeah. Sweet. Last couple of years we've done that. A couple of other customers are going to come out. But, it's just, we give away tons of free comic books. Every store, well, I shouldn't say every store. Most stores do this. The selection this year, they've kind of trimmed down the selection. There's still a lot of books, but in past years, you've probably heard me complain about this. There was a lot of books that came out that had no normal print comic associated with it. They were for weird web series and real just bottom basement independent books that nobody bought. That there was no. I understand you're trying to push this Free Comic Day book to get more people to buy your products, but these were not products that any store was ever going to sell. So they've more curated the list more. They've reduced the number. They've reduced the average price point because we still have to pay for the comic books.
Yeah, it was going up every year.
Yeah,
steadily for a while.
Yeah. I don't think the selection this year is necessarily the greatest selection ever, but I think it is an overall better per title average quality because there's definitely some good stuff.
No Grumpy Cat for you?
I don't think there's a Grumpy Cat. There might be. I don't know.
There is a Grumpy Cat.
A lot of these are reprints, but then there is some original content, and then there's some preview stuff. So there's Archie #1. That's the Mark Waid book that just came out fairly recently.
Speaking of that, I read that the last podcast.
Oh, yeah.
The one in the future that may be happening, but in a different order. Timey-wimey, but it was really good. I really liked it. I actually laughed out loud during the podcast while reading it, so... Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a very John Hughes-ish.
Yep.
So if you like John Hughes, I do recommend the new Archie books. Yep. I really dug it. I never cared for Archie ever, so it was a new take.
Yeah, I've read very little, but this new series is really good.
Yeah, I dug it.
So they're doing a Free Comic Day of Archie #1, Bob's Burgers, Bongo. The Simpsons always has an awesome Free Comic Day book. Boom Studios has a compilation of a bunch of their titles, including Lumberjanes. This is a weird one. So Images is Camp Midnight. It's a preview comic for a graphic novel that came out last week. Kind of weird. I don't Image of everything. It's this weird, kind of kiddie. Of all the books Image could promote, it's this. Again, I'm not saying no question of the quality of the book, but there's so many big Image books they could promote even further, and they're not. Marvel obviously has a big one. They have an Avengers Free Comic Book Day, Civil War 2 preview or promo, zero issue basically. It's there's another zero issue, but this is
2 pages of intro basically.
This is the -1 or whatever,
okay.
And the Captain America Free Comic Day book, which is sort of the reintroduction of Steve Rogers as Captain America. Dark Horse's Serenity and Hellboy one. There's the 4 Doctors.
Serenity and Hellboy?
Yeah.
Wait, together?
Well, no.
A crossover?
Is Serenity Firefly related?
Yeah. There's going to be a new Serenity comic. Serenity, Hellboy, and Aliens. No, not a crossover.
No, I was what?
It's those 3 books.
Although I don't think that's out of line.
Yeah,
crossover,
I could.
Right?
Yeah, it could cross over.
Anything can cross over.
There's the 4 Doctors, Doctor Who 1 from Titan, ROM #0, that's from IDW. So DC has a couple weird ones. So they're just doing a reprint of Suicide Squad #1 because of the movie. You would think
which one #1?
The New 52 one. You would think with Rebirth in a month they would do a giant Rebirth one shot, but
I think they took the pages that they would have done in that and shoved it in the 80 pages that's going to come out with the DC Rebirth. So
the 80-page one is basically just a 4-issue miniseries shoved into one book, right? So
for $2.99.
Well, again, so Valiant of all these people, probably the best kind of on target here. They have the 4001 AD, which comes out this week. So the Free Comic Day book and their big event book both come out the same week. That's perfect. There's some other big ones.
Hold on. When you say this week, you mean next month, Wednesday?
The Wednesday,
on May the 4th.
Yeah, that's out right now. So
May the 4th, the book comes out, and then the free comic book day on the 7th.
Yeah, so it's at least the same time, right? Yeah. And that's their big book for the year. So like they seem to be them and Marvel have like I think the better selections this year. There's all sorts of other stuff like Assassin's Creed. There's some smaller companies has one. There's a Korra one that's Dark Horses. They're all age.
I have to get my Tick one.
Yeah, they're all age comic.
Nuance it.
This Tick one. Yeah. DC's other big one is the.
You got it.
I know I did.
Actually, the real big one from DC is the preview for the Superhero Girls.
Yeah.
Which that's a new line of graphic novels they have coming up based on the animated series, and that is legitimately, I think, the biggest. Between that and the Suicide Squad reprint, this is the biggest one.
Yeah.
I think I want 2 of those.
There's Grumpy Cat, Lady Mechanica.
See? I knew it. I knew there was going to be Grumpy Cat.
I didn't order Grumpy Cat. Maybe I did. Did I order those? I don't remember. There's, let's see, trying to think of some other big ones. Yeah, this year it's very kid-friendly, heavy, which is good. You know,
that's Grumpy Cat number 1 is going to worth a lot of money in 2 years down the road. I'm telling you, Ryan Higgins.
Pink Panther, Sanjay and Craig, which is a thing that I've never heard of, but apparently it's a Nickelodeon show. Sonic, SpongeBob, Strawberry Shortcake, Street Fighter, One Punch Man. That's one from who's doing that? I don't know who that is. That's not Viz. That must be Kodansha, one of the other Japanese companies. World of Aspen. So there's some good stuff. Again, I feel that the overall quality this year is pretty good. If it only has kind of the 1 or 2 big event ones. In the past, DC's done them. This year they're kind of skipping out. Images, I feel, Images last year and this year are stupid. Last year was Savage Dragon. Like, what? Savage Dragon? And not that Cameron Knight's a bad book, but it's just...
Well, Larson's like, I'm running the show, it might as well be my book.
Be my book, yeah. The Archie one's big. That's a good one. That's a real good one to get in people's hands. So, Free Comic Day is always awesome. Really great day, so...
Well, it's normally one of our biggest days of the year.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it is generally the best Wednesday we have all year is Free Comic Day on Saturday. So, yeah, it tends to be not quite as big as like our big sale day of the year, but it tends to be a real good day.
I was going to ask, how does it compare sales-wise with your quarterly or annual sale weekend?
So, it's different. We did run sales on Free Comic Day in the past, but it was just too hectic, too crazy. It really makes it hard to keep track. It's two different crowds. Sale people and Free Comic Day people are not always the same people. So we ran our sale a few weeks earlier, which was huge this year. It's the best sale we've had to date, as far as if my numbers are correct. So just crazy. With Free Comic Day, though, it's hundreds of very small purchases because we do 5 free comics out of the Free Comic Day list, and then 5 more than you purchase. So everyone grabs like a couple things. So it tends to be a very profitable day too, because people seem to kind of just grab whatever in a lot of cases. So we sell
a
lot of
this hardcover omnibus.
Well, no, I mean we tend to sell a lot of product that has sat around for a while, just because people are grabbing every random thing, right? So we do tend to move a lot of product that.
You're going to run out of keychains this year.
I'm going to run out of those keychains, absolutely. Yeah. I've bought like 5 boxes of these like blind pack keychains and opened them all, and ever since I have, we've sold like
you didn't open them and you sold like
2.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
And then you opened them and you've sold
like 50 cents. Yeah. So yeah, Free Comic Day. If you're in the area and you want to come by, we're open 11 to 7. Get here before 11. Yeah. Don't get here at 3 or 4 because pickings will be slim. We generally will have stuff till the end of the day.
I remember one year I grabbed quarter books to throw out.
One year was we literally
swamped.
We ran out of everything. This year we shouldn't run out of everything. We should still have some of the stuff left over at the end. But still, it's this is going to be a good year. So
and this year some people might be surprised at what's on that free table.
Yeah. Oh, we do have some other stuff we're going to put out too. Mm-hmm. So we have some other overstock stuff we're going to put out for free. Even if you're not local, go to your comic shop on Saturday. Even if it's the one time a year you go, it's totally worth it. It's always, any store that's doing something most stores actually tend to have huge sales or big events. We're a little more low key than a lot of stores because we do our sale on a different day. But yeah, it's always a lot of fun. A lot of people dress up. They give away other stuff. The 501st are at a lot of Free Comic Day events, so you can usually a lot of people cosplay and
We don't get too much cosplay here, though.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, we get a lot of people that hit up like every store on Free Comic Day. That's like their 1 year, the 1 day a year they go to like every comic store in the Bay Area, right? To grab a couple things from every place, and a lot of people
they have the U-Haul van outside.
Well, it's just an excuse for a lot of people to actually get to the store and pay $10, right? But if you have hundreds of customers paying $10 each, right? It's a very, very good day for a lot of stores.
My buddy Lord is going to be at the Comic Bug in Culver City, so if you're in the LA area, he'll be there signing or drawing. Nice. Not sure.
Yeah,
he'll be there.
A lot of creators go to their local shops on those days, and it's nothing. They just go. It's not like
so. And the whole event tends to be promoted around kind of free, so not like you're going to go to these things and people are charging $100 for a sketch or something like that. I mean, especially because it is aimed at a younger audience and a very non-traditional audience. So if you go,
the whole day is designed to be an intro day, isn't it?
Right.
It's to get kids to get into comics again, as opposed to all the other things and
lapsed readers and even adults, right, that never read them. Yeah. If you go, don't be a dick to your comic store. They're going to be very, very, very hectic and crazy, but it's a fun day for everyone.
I'm going to be bouncing.
Yeah.
This is the one time of year I feel like I'm bouncing here.
Yeah. We kind of have to snake people through the store for the first, hour or so, and then it gets a little, then it's a little more.
This is your Black Friday?
Yeah, totally. All right, let's move on. This weekend, we're going to be seeing Avengers Age of Ultron. Not Avengers Age of Ultron. I'm sorry, this says... the top of this is talking about Age of Ultron, then moves on.
We could watch it.
We could. Oh, Charlie, actually, is a question. Civil War comes out this Thursday. We're going to see it here. Are you going to the is it 5 movie?
4. Oh, it's only 4?
Well, it's Avengers 2.
Well, it's Cap 1, Cap 2.
Yeah.
Avengers 2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, 5, so 5 if you count
total,
that makes sense.
I was not planning to, but I've had a very stressful time at work recently, so maybe I will.
I saw that, and I mean, I would have loved to have done the the 5 movies before the first Avengers.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have done 5 of the 6 Star Wars ones before Episode 7. But I can't take the day off work. I just can't afford. I'm saving all my days for later this year. So what I was planning on doing was watching each one of the movies this week before Thursday night, because I love the Cap movies, and Avengers 1 is amazing. But I haven't been able to because we've been catching up on Game of Thrones. But that was my plan, was to watch them all.
As much as I like the movies, you made a better choice.
How far back are you?
Oh, we had to catch up on... I was caught up, but Allie was behind seasons 4 and 5. So we caught up and were able to watch episode 2 Sunday. But we had to watch season 5, 10, and then 6, 1, and then we watched 6, 2. So...
Now, I have a question, real quick segue, because he brought up Thrones, so duh.
No spoilers.
But did you feel like episode 2 was really predictable?
Okay, we're not going to talk about this. Hey, let's move on to talk about Captain America Civil War. It is already made, let's see, I had the number here, and of course I lost it, as we're going to say. Already $224 million internationally. It is on track to pull $190 to $200 million opening domestic box office, and that is probably a little low.
Is that based on pre-sales?
Yeah.
Is it out anywhere else in the world?
Everywhere else in the world. It's made $225 million already internationally.
If you just said that, I would.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's fine.
I was talking to Toby.
It opened in Europe last weekend, so it's been out in Russia and China. I think China already.
That's why you're going to Ireland? You kind of misplanned it? You're like, fuck, I missed it by a couple of weeks?
Yeah, a week early.
I was going to watch Civil War early, but not anymore now. I'm not watching it at all.
Age of Ultron's opening weekend is $191 million, so very likely the Civil War will beat it.
What was Winter Soldier?
Geez, let me see. Nothing like that. Winter Soldier was
it'll definitely beat Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier was like $70 million.
Yeah, but Winter Soldier is
that.
Also like more a genre movie and a single character. This is again one of those.
This is almost like
this is an Avengers
like
movie.
Avengers, yeah.
This is Avengers 3. Yeah,
Remember when Spider-Man made 116 and everyone thought that was amazing?
Yeah. The reviews, the no spoiler, no anything reviews that I've heard from people I know overseas is it's the best Spider-Man movie ever made. It's potentially the best Marvel Cinematic movie ever made. So
is it getting any scores on Rotten Tomatoes yet?
I mean, it was 98% last time I checked.
Yeah, it was near perfect. But again, I'm trying to.
There was that one D bag. There's always that one. It
must have been Bryce,
bag, right?
It must have been Bryce.
That's not. So with basically at this point with 133 in, it's at 93%, 9 rotten. So there you go.
I'm trying not to have my hopes too high because I enjoy the movie more.
Again, I just go in. It's hard because I think for most of us, I think Winter Soldier is one of our, if not favorite, movies.
Definitely the favorite. So, yeah.
I think this has a lot. My concerns with this before any of the reviews was, a lot of characters. They pulled it off at Avengers. They didn't, maybe less so.
I heard they
Ultron.
also, non-spoiler, maybe that this is also a new platform. That it was a really big story, but supposedly it's setting up a lot of new things too.
Right. Well, this is the last one that Marvel was involved with. So going forward, Marvel has no involvement.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what? What does that mean?
The Marvel's creative department, like Brian Michael Bendis and Joe Quesada. I think Joe Quesada is still involved, but the actual comic book creators were involved in every movie up to this point.
Yeah, they formed a committee,
bringing in even working with like Brubaker and I don't know to what degree. I mean, he was actually in Winter Soldier at Brubaker, he's one of the doctors. So they've worked with all the Marvel creators up to this point, but they are no longer involved in the movies. So Doctor Strange and on, we'll see. It could be interesting. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's just I feel like the Marvel movies are so successful because they take the knowledge that the creators have and apply that to a movie.
Now the truth will come out that Thanos is actually a woman. And,
look at
some other weird stuff will happen.
Well, look at the Spider-Man and X-Men movies, right? And the Fantastic Four movies. Some good movies in there, some less than good movies.
A lot of less than good movies in there.
Yeah, and you can say that the Spider-Man and X-Men movies do not feel nearly as close to their comic counterparts as the Marvel cinematic movies, which have always felt, even if they're different, very loyal to the comics. Where X-Men, I like half the X-Men movies, but they are nothing like the comic books. Deadpool is the only one that's even remotely close. But the X-Men movies they bear no resemblance to the comics. The more I think about it, the more I realize they are completely divorced from anything from the comics. Doesn't mean they're bad movies. They're just so different. Whereas the Marvel Cinematic movies have that heart and soul that originate from the comics still and adapt some of the plots in a pretty good way.
Is there? Do you know why this committee of comic book writers is no longer involved?
We've talked about this occasionally in the last year or so when this got announced. And Kevin Feige, the guy that runs the Marvel studios, he big power play ousted. What's the guy's name? I always forget his name. Ike Perlmutter,
the Indian guy, right?
Ike Perlmutter, who is one of the former heads of Marvel. That's now one of Disney's biggest shareholders, who runs Marvel Television, and now all the movie guys, or all the comic guys that were working on the movies, are now over with the TV department. So the TV shows might get even better, and the movies might get worse. Who knows? We don't know. But Civil War, Avengers was 2.7 million opening weekend. Iron Man 3 was 1.74 opening weekend. So this has the potential to beat Avengers, which would be very big. And Fandango says the Civil War has broken their records for advanced ticket sales, and it accounts for 90% of all ticket sales for this weekend through Fandango. So
90%.
That's a lot.
90% of everything sold on Fandango.
Yep, that's a lot of tickets.
I wonder if that's what is the average? What was Jungle Book on opening weekend? I'm wondering what percentage a movie normally is.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, Jungle Book didn't really.
Many? No, but Jungle Book was number one for
3 weeks,
3 weeks or whatever. Yeah. So I'm curious. What's that?
Maybe even 4 weeks. Was it number one this past weekend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that 4 weekends then, or was this the third weekend?
I don't remember.
It's a good ass movie. Did you end up seeing it, Toby?
No.
Oh, it's a good ass movie. Jungle Book's real good.
But I mean, the only point I'm making is, the new releases tend to dominate the box office.
Yeah, but apparently, according to them, this is the most. 90% is now the record.
But I, there's probably also. I mean, how many movies?
I'm surprised Star Wars wouldn't have been that, right? Like that's kind of weird.
That was 100%, but nobody mentions it.
Well, maybe they didn't mention what it was, but
maybe they took out that outlier, right? That's the extreme.
We'll just ignore Star Wars.
And all the little people that decided to come out on the same day as Star Wars.
But how many other types of movies do this sort of, I mean,
sale?
how many other types of movies do a Thursday night?
Everything at this point.
Yeah,
all the major movies.
Okay, because I mean, I would assume that's a huge driving factor of this too, because it's coming out Thursday night. Oh, I can buy tickets early, go Thursday night. I don't have to deal with weekend crowds.
Thursday is rolled into Friday's totals. So Thursday for Star Wars, I want to say was like 35 million or 30 million, something in that range. I don't have the number in front of me. I think Batman v Superman was like 20-something, 27. Like, the Thursday nights are big deals. But Friday is 90 million, right? So they tend to be, there's more shows.
Didn't Avengers 2 open it earlier, too?
I mean, overseas. But I think
earlier, like, time-wise. Like, what's the earliest show of Civil War that's going on?
7 o'clock tends to be the earliest. I know Batman v Superman, because of its runtime, had 6 o'clock shows. Yeah. But Civil War is the same runtime, so I don't know why they have them at 7 and not 6.
2.5 hours?
Yeah, it's 2.5, yeah. Long movie.
Winter Soldier was over 2 hours, too.
Yeah. When you break that 2.5, though, you're starting to get in some real long territory.
You're getting into Return of the King.
It's called Don't Drink Anything Before You Watch the Movie.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for all the people like, man, you could look at what they did in 2.5 hours that Batman v Superman couldn't.
Yeah, that will be great.
Well, I know with Jungle Book, they didn't have a ton of competition. There's been a couple movies out in the last week or two, like came out, and there's another one, Huntsman, but. There's nothing.
Oh, Jesus.
There's nothing that's...
Well, did you see any of the reviews and the numbers from Huntsman? It was like a complete shit show.
So, a friend of ours is a fan of the original and said, hey, let's go see Huntsman. And I said, well, I haven't seen the first one. I kind of wanted to, but so I said, all right, I'm going to go to this. And we had a group of us who went out to see Huntsman. Snow White and the Huntsman is not the worst movie I've ever seen or anything like that. It's just...
Yes, it is.
No, it's fine. It's just... I don't even remember the actress's name. What's her name? The Twilight chick.
Kristen Stewart.
Sorry.
Yeah, she is just...
Well, she's not in this prequel sequel. But...
Right. So she is just dead in the eye. I don't know what her deal is. Like, she's, I guess, fine, but like... She just brought nothing to that role, and just it's a cool looking movie. The costumes are all super neat, but like I don't know. So but I watched it and I was like, all right, well, I'm happy I saw this. I'll go see Huntsman. That's fine. I didn't hate Huntsman. It was whatever. Like it's the first like 20 minutes is sort of a prequel that sets up the plot, and the rest of it's evil Frozen, right? Yeah. And you're like. Chris Hemsworth is cool.
Well, it's based on the same tale as Frozen, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, so it's technically the same character.
Well, right, exactly. But it's like, okay, I don't know. Like, where are they going with this? This doesn't bring anything to the table.
Well,
right?
what happened was they were like, look at how successful Frozen is. Let's use
some
that
of
character.
Money. Yeah.
What made our movie suck was the Snow White chick. Let's get rid of her.
Yeah.
Instant hit.
You're probably right. I mean, honestly. The visuals are pretty cool, and the costumes are awesome.
Which was the first one was just like that.
Right, same thing. Other than that, there's not a lot going on. They're actually kind of dull. Which you think these would just be like big action movies?
What's funny about The Huntsman is
they're just sort of
you got
dull.
that for free on Blu-ray.
It's like a long time ago. Yeah, I never even watched it.
You never watched it, and I borrowed it.
Like I sold it or something.
No, I borrowed. You let me borrow it, and I finally watched it. And I was like, it's okay. Yeah. And then I returned it to you, and it's funny that you're saying that you didn't even watch it. I was like, but you own the Blu-ray.
And speaking of movies, because this is probably its final weekend, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice bowing out at $863 million. So I assume Civil War will do, I don't think twice that, but
at least.
I think they're looking at. I mean, it'll break $1 billion. I mean, you can't really count it as a Captain America movie. I mean, it is technically, so that's what the comparison is going to be. But I think expectations are very high for Civil War. I think $1 billion is
how many superhero protagonists are in this movie? Like 10, right?
All of them, like 64 or something. Crazy?
All of them minus Hulk and
Hulk
minus
and
Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't really say like, yeah. I mean, Avengers 3 is an apt comparison.
Yeah.
Is the next Avengers? It's a duo, right?
Yeah. Infinity Gauntlet Part 1, Infinity Gauntlet Part 2.
So they aren't even like
War.
There are no numbers to these movies except for Iron Man.
Right,
so.
Yeah, and those are. I guess the more recent talk is that they're not even. They're not like. They are maybe Part 1 and Part 2, but they're not necessarily like connected. They don't pick up right after it. And same with Justice League. All the talk is that they're not like just completely connected. There's going to be a break, and then other movies come out, and then the plot picks up later. So, like, it's not going to end on a weird cliffhanger, and then pick up from that cliffhanger. But who knows? I mean, we'll see when it comes out.
That would be really weird.
If they did or didn't.
If they ended the Part 1 and then did a bunch of movies that were
Oh, that's what's going to happen, right?
loosely connected, if that, and then come.
Well, I don't even know if they're going to be connected. Because this movie's coming out between Part 1 and Part 2.
So basically what you're saying is...
Well, but not that many, at least in terms of, like, the Avengers was, like, just a year apart, wasn't it?
No, it was three. It was, the first one was 12, and Ultron was last
Well, no,
year.
I mean, Part 1 of Infinity War and Part 2. If I recall, it's, like, one summer, then the next summer.
Oh, okay.
So it was like maybe 1 or 2 movies between.
Yeah, Black Panther and Captain Marvel are due out between Avengers Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily see them directly doing that unless they're doing the Avengers are completely removed by the end of Part 1, and that's why. Well, but even then, that doesn't make sense. Okay, I got no theories.
Well, we'll all see Civil War. We will have our episode next week on Tuesday. It goes up will be our Civil War episode, so make sure you come in and check in for that, and we'll do all our typical questions.
Are we going to shoot to be as long as the movie again?
Oh, geez, no. Christ, no.
Only twice as long.
It's only that long when we have conflict of opinions. I have a feeling we're all going to like this movie, so...
Someone has to bite the bullet and be the antagonist.
Yeah. Oh, Bryce isn't going to be there. So sorry, Bryce is not going to be on the podcast next week. Or maybe for some of you...
Wait, hold on. I hear cheering.
Yeah, I was going to say, for some of you, Bryce is going to be in the episode next week, so I guess you're happy. I guess you're checking in. We have a... is there anything else?
Yes, there is.
No news.
Because Mr. Noyes here reminded me and asked me if we talked about this, and we have not yet talked about it.
Right, so you mentioned the whole thing about the... Marvel comic writers like moving to the TV division, and I see Charlie's got a stack of comics here, and one of them is Punisher.
Yes,
and I think something recently was that they're doing a Punisher TV series.
This is the most non-news of all time.
Well, it's official though.
They're doing a Punisher TV show.
You say that, but
show.
You're the guy who's always like, it's never official until somebody gets up to a podium. So,
well, no, it's never official until he sees like a trailer or footage.
No, he's always said when that official statement comes out.
Official statement. There's a Punisher TV show.
I assume it's going to be on Netflix, right?
Yeah. So I made some comment on Twitter, and a bunch of people corrected me. I guess they start filming Defenders really soon too.
Yes.
So that's cool. Yeah. But
isn't Defenders supposed to come out after Power Fist and Luke Cage?
So Power Fist is already being filmed.
Fist.
Not Power Fist.
Whatever.
Power Man and Iron Fist.
I don't know these weird Marvel.
Exactly.
Iron Fist and Power Man, but together they're Power Fist.
Iron Fist is already being filmed right now. The Luke Cage is next.
Done.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah. I'd heard somewhere that Luke Cage was in the process of being filmed.
I have a feeling.
I hadn't heard anything about the other guy.
Yeah, Iron Fist was already being filmed.
Which one is the other guy?
Luke Cage is coming out first, then Iron Fist.
Yeah, is Jessica Jones before or after Defenders?
I'm pretty certain that's the order right now. It was Cage, Iron Fist, and then Defenders. I'm pretty certain. And then sequels, whatever.
And then Punisher,
later.
Daredevil. And then probably Punisher, Jessica Jones, Daredevil.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I assume those comic guys are working with Netflix and Marvel, right?
Hopefully.
That's the belief, right? I mean, we don't know.
Even if not, they're doing a fantastic job. So either way.
That's true.
Yeah, they're supposed to be,
give credit. Yeah,
they're also supposed to be
whoever's
involved with the Fox show, so Legion and what's the other X-Men one?
Most
Legion
Wanted?
No. Oh, well, the talk today is that Carter and Carter's not getting renewed and Most Wanted is not getting picked up. They're like they're like
I need to watch season 2 of Carter.
No, you don't.
Really?
It's real bad.
It's okay.
Oh.
It's real dull.
They have one really cool new character that they're utilizing more, but other than that, it's
I didn't even watch the last 2 episodes. I just dropped it. I did not like it at all. I loved the first season.
yeah. But
Yeah.
you watch Lucifer, that has
Strange.
nothing to do with the comic book.
Lucifer was really fun though.
Yeah, Agent Carter season 2 had a lot of weird missteps. It just didn't flow as well as the first
It's
season
very
at all.
dull. Yeah. So again, who knows? Maybe they'll pick it up. But all the talk today that I read on Variety and Dateline or whatever is that Agent Carter's not getting picked up, and Most Wanted probably isn't getting to get the pilot. So, which is fine. There's no need for that show to exist. It's Mockingbird and her ex-husband on like a solo show. Like what? Why? No.
Yes, because it's the best thing to happen to the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Now, see if Arrow wanted to make a Birds of Prey TV show, I'd be right there behind it. So
Arrow or CW?
that was a bit of a joke. It's totally not a joke, though. They totally should do that.
Yeah.
But no,
Not with Felicity, though.
no. This character does not need this version of Mockingbird and this guy does not need a spin-off show. Yeah, very excited for Punisher. Very excited for Punisher. Yeah, I don't know. There's like no comic news. Free Comic Day is coming up. All the movies are coming up. Yeah, we'll have new stuff. Rebirth. I think I said this last episode. We're going to have a bunch of Rebirth specific episodes coming up. We're going to have at least that first big Civil War episode, and then we'll talk more about the comics as they come out. So if you're like, oh, where's all the comic talk?
On the 28th, we'll have a Rebirth episode.
Yeah, and you guys are going to that week I'm gone.
The specials come out. We're gonna power through it before we record, and give our opinions on it.
Talk about that special, so that'll be up the end of May. So make sure you check that out. Well, let's hit a few questions here. The most prolific tweeter to all of us of all time, our good friend Casey on Twitter. Man, dude, you're on Twitter a lot. He sent us
Twitter, like at random times in the morning.
Well, so we have a bunch of questions to catch up on here, and he sent this email a couple of weeks back, and I was like, "Oh, perfect time to read them. We have a bunch of time today, so let's read this." So he got caught up after marathoning 250 episodes in about 5 months.
Wow!
So he listened to all of our. I'm so sorry for like 175 of those. He said, "I said I should write in and say how I enjoy how I quite enjoyed the podcast." He says, I will quickly say I did not enjoy Man of Steel, though it was just a dull movie with poor writing. But 3 things I enjoyed was Zod always yelling was quite funny, Superman destroying a satellite got a chuckle, and Faora was attractive. So there you go. Couple good things to like in Man of Steel.
I'll second those. Yeah.
That out of the way, Bryce has won me over with his charismatic personality. Even when I know he is wrong, I feel he might still be right. Always give him a beer. These are all statements that are too true.
No, but I think we gotta. I don't know if we can handle that Indiana beer.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but that.
Yeah, got him a little too.
It's good stuff. Woo!
Bryce is used to like the weak ass California beer, so I have to take that down a little bit more.
Gotta water it down for him.
So he said, a quick question before I go. What is everyone's least favorite hero of the big 3 between Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman? It's like in Sophie's choice here. Who's your least favorite of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman?
I'll go first. Mine is Wonder Woman, but only because I don't really read Wonder Woman. Yeah. So I read mostly Batman, some Superman, and pretty much no Wonder Woman. So only because I don't know.
Did Batman v Superman change anyone's opinion on who's the best of those 3 characters?
Wait, we have to pick between the 3?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought any of the big 3 as in Marvel, DC, Image.
No. Of the big 3 DC, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Oh, I can't do that.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Oh, man, I was totally going to say Speedball because out of all the New Warriors, he's the one I wanted to die, and out of Brown Coat Avengers was Nova.
No.
Out of those big three.
I'd have to say Superman.
Okay. Why?
Just I don't know. I've never really I've liked his character, but I've never really felt connected to him.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I
don't know.
I don't want to say Wonder Woman because, I'm going to say Wonder Woman. Let me rephrase this. I'm going to say Wonder Woman because I feel Batman and Superman are
Classic.
two of the most
So is
important.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman is as well. Batman and Superman are two of the most important fictional characters in the history of humanity. I mean, they are the two most iconic characters. Obviously the Marvel stuff is because of the
Yeah,
movies.
but every fucking grandma knows Batman and
Every-
Superman. She might call them by in reverse, but she knows they're Batman and Superman. though.
Everyone,
Man, Superman,
especially Superman. Superman, again, even a step ahead Batman. I mean, third place is perfectly fine when the first two places are the greatest that have ever existed.
See, now I understand why you said
So-
Wonder Woman.
So a large part of the reason why this particular question is hard for me is if you encapsulate a moment in time, like right now my answer would be Superman, but that's all based on what they've done with him in the comics and everything recently. And my answer would never be Batman.
Yeah.
Let me just clarify that. Like, Batman's just off the table completely.
It's Superman and Wonder Woman that are
That
switching the spots for you.
Flip back and forth depending on moments in time and everything going on around those characters at the time. And coming out of like the Brubaker run on New 52 for Wonder Woman and how well she was used in the Batman v Superman, like right now I am kind of in the...
It was the Rucka run. You said Brubaker.
It is Brubaker.
It was Brubaker in the New 52.
It was Brubaker?
of what?
Rocca was in the late 90s.
Of who?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman? Brian Azzarello?
Brian was
Azrael, sorry.
what's wrong?
But
my
Rocca
brain's
was
all
late
over the place.
90s, though.
yeah, the Rucka was
Yeah.
late 90s.
Yeah, Azrael. Any event, but like...
Rocco was like mid-2000s. That was like 2010.
Fine.
2009, yeah.
Even
yeah.
later in
But-
the 90s, beyond the 90s.
Yeah, 90s
But-
was... 90s was...
Oh, wait, it was...
Mike Diodato.
Yeah.
and yeah.
Porn
yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, with
good.
Artemis and the brown jacket. Toby's
Yeah.
got a thing for people in brown jackets, apparently.
Awesome. Awesome
He-
90s.
but
He loves
Captain
Finn.
Mel?
But it's definitely one
Captain
of those
who?
things that if you rewind 7 years or something, then the answer would have been Wonder Woman. So,
I like the Doctor.
yeah. But the answer is never Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if Toby's going to answer. He looks like he's still thinking. But what I have really enjoyed are the Earth One graphic novels.
Oh, yeah, those are amazing.
I actually really kind of like Charlie. Sorry, kind of like Charlie. Batman's kind of always the number one choice for me. But looking at, I'm really excited to read the Wonder Woman. It just recently came out, right?
Yeah.
I should just buy that today.
I read the two Batmans and 3 Supermans, or is it the other way around?
No, you're correct.
You're right.
I actually really enjoyed the Superman ones, but maybe that's because Straczynski was writing it.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to read the Wonder Woman ones because both Batman and Superman have been really good.
Did you read the Teen Titans?
Yeah, I'm like, you need
No,
to read the Teen Titans.
which
It's very good
That's
also.
another one of these Earth ones. Like I want to read.
It gets the shaft. It is good.
What's funny about the three of them, I actually have a harder time kind of justifying my pick for what two were better than the third than when it's Superman and Batman. Because when there's a question of Superman and Batman, to me it's no question, it's Superman. Superman is the most important between the three. Between the two, between Superman and Batman, it's Superman. I mean, Superman is the first, he's the greatest, he's the number one forever and always. But when you have to put in like...
He's so misguided.
No, but am I wrong?
Nope, you're totally right.
Happens occasionally.
Always Batman.
Totally right.
But with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, you're suddenly like, but there's a thing, and like, I don't want to put it, But between the two, it's like, no, it's Superman every time. Like, I understand that people like Batman better in a lot of situations, but Superman is the most important comic book
It's almost
character
like saying,
ever.
who's your least favorite child?
Well, that's Sophie's choice.
Obviously, the second one. Right? Sorry.
Toby,
It's too
can't
hard.
do it. Can't do it.
If you truly love comics, you can't do this one. I mean, Superman is the reason why I became a nerd, I guess, and Superman's the reason why I read comic books today. Batman is probably the coolest character I ever read, and Wonder Woman is one of the first ladies I read. So there's no comparison. I mean, it's tough. I can't do it. I mean, Linda Carter's TV show was huge.
Yeah.
So, again, like Charlie says, period of time, right?
Right.
During Christopher Reeve days, I would have been like, fuck Batman. Look at Christopher Reeve.
Sure. Nobody cared about Batman.
During
the 80s, nobody cared about Superman.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So it's too tough.
Yeah.
It's too tough. But I love them all.
Yep. Let's move on. This question here from TJ is going to show our age. He says, I know no one really has time, but I was wondering if any of you have heard or are aware of any of the more popular comic book YouTube channels like Comic Storian, Comic Drake, NerdSync, Comic Pop, Variant, Comics Explained, or Super Effective, to name a few. These are channels I stumbled upon, in combination with your podcast, of course, to get me back into reading right before the disappointment of Convergence. And have been going steady ever since.
I have not heard of any of these comic book YouTube channels.
Old man hat on. The YouTube.
I don't even use the internet.
I don't eat the YouTube.
I'm on there all the time on Twitter talking to people. I don't use the internet.
Look, snarking on Twitter about Ted Cruz is one thing. I don't actually.
You actually snuck that in.
I don't. Yeah, timely. I don't use YouTube. I never use YouTube for anything. I will occasionally watch
Hearthstone videos and trailers.
When I'm stuck in the quest on World of Warcraft, I Google search it, and YouTube is usually the first thing that pops up.
Where the hell is that Riddler trophy in this Batman game?
Generally, when I'm linked to a trailer for a new thing, it's on YouTube, and that's it. I have nothing against YouTube celebrities and YouTube personalities and channels, and God bless those people and the hundreds of millions of people that watch this stuff. To me, I'm sure I sound like everyone that tells me they don't own a TV and they don't watch television. And
you also don't like fan films. And I want to just add that in there too.
But I'm like, well, you're a liar. You're crazy. Of course, everyone watches TV, right? Me saying I don't watch YouTube, people are like, what are you talking about? Of course, everyone watches YouTube, but I don't. I literally never do. So.
Where do you watch trailers if not YouTube?
Well, no, that's what I said.
No, he doesn't go. He doesn't go to
trailers.
YouTube to watch somebody's channel.
Someone.
Well, I got that. I just thought he said I thought he mentioned trailers only
most of the
when
time
someone links it.
Yeah, most of the time when I actually watch a trailer, it's not on YouTube. It's in Twitter's feed, it's in my Facebook feed, or it's on like a website. Right when
I think Ryan doesn't like other comic book people. He goes fuck them all because I know better than any of them. He's laughing like that. Yeah, see, he knows. I know.
We call that pulling Ryan.
Yes. No, but this is totally an old man Higgins. I just don't go on YouTube. I don't.
Yeah, I would read that comic.
So I guess for me, especially with my kids and how much they're on YouTube, I can't.
They are on YouTube all the time.
I can't stand most YouTube channels at all. I just like my brain just.
Yeah.
I have to leave the room.
Do your kids watch?
But your kid has a channel.
Is me saying PewDiePie is like the way when I'm describing music? I'm like, Britney Spears and those other music that popular kids listen to. Like, I have no clue.
Old.
I have no idea.
Do your kids watch the opening videos?
Yeah. No.
Okay, my kids watch the opening videos on YouTube.
Unboxing videos?
It's like there's the kid that's like roughly a couple years older than them opening and putting together the Lego and they time-lapse and I'm like, how can you watch this?
But you know what? We talk about this in the Geek Box from time to time. When we were kids, if this existed, we would have all watched this.
And that's actually one of the things that frustrates me the most.
Yeah. A walkthrough, play.
That we're old?
It
frustrates me because we're old.
Well, I would have killed for Let's Play when I was a kid. Now it's like, who has time for that? Like,
to me, the thing is
when people play video
what you
games.
kind of talk about with like the Warcraft thing. Like, yes, as a kid, when I got desperate enough and I was at the store, I'd flip through the game guide to figure out that one thing that was driving me crazy.
But the
reality was, I put in enough time that I at least tried to figure it out myself. there's far too many times when I feel like my kid dies once at something. He's like, well, I'll just go try. I'm like, no, you fucking go back to that game and you try again.
That's
Play
awesome.
more video games. No, I'm the same way. Like, well, to answer the question, no, I don't know of any of those channels. Although, maybe like getting some kind of news about comics that I'm marginally interested in but not buying would be helpful to know what's going on. But no, as a kid, I'd always try to play a game, and if I couldn't get through it, tough shit. But now it's like, oh, go to GameFAQs, go to YouTube, super quick and easy. It's hard to stay away.
And
You used to have to find a
again,
Game Genie.
I don't mind it as long as, like, if you've been stuck on a puzzle for over an hour on just this one level and you don't see the slight discoloration there where you're supposed to jump, or like
An hour? Dude, I take weeks before I figure out I'm stuck even.
That's exactly the way my life has always been on these games. It's always like that one area that frustrates the crap out of you and you spend far too much time on, and then you get past it and it's just like you breeze through the rest of the game.
It's your Battletoads
But
moment.
Well, Battletoads
like
is just
I
hard.
just like, for me, games have always been very much about sort of training your problem solving. And like back when I'm going to date myself even more with games. Like I used to, when I first got into computers and was first playing the old Sierra games and stuff, you literally had to type like pick up ball to try and like pick up a ball.
Oh, yeah.
And when that didn't work, you were never 100% sure. Maybe I should try get ball. You would try different permutations.
All those old adventure games.
Yeah. Because
solving.
you were never 100% sure if it's just the way you were phrasing it or you really can't pick that up. And as things got simpler over time where it's just like, no, you just point and click and pick up, I kind of miss that aspect of games because it actually did kind of help me over time having to go through that. So this general kind of sense of everything being instantly available at your fingertips at the first sign of something might be difficult bothers me because I want people to get that sense of satisfaction of going like, holy crap, I figured it out.
Here's the problem. I ain't got time for that shit. I'm like, hit this enemy once, didn't kill him. All right, YouTube, why didn't I kill him? Did this? Okay, fine. Now this is how I do it. Keep going. I
Honestly,
have like 90 other games to still play. Okay?
I am totally kind of okay with you having already done the trial by fire, but as a kid,
Yeah.
No, it's definitely working in a high school. I see it all the time. Like, these kids, they have everything at their fingertips, information wise, just instantly. And you tell them to, you need to find this. I don't know what you're talking about. Just go on the internet, Google it. Like, it's like I'm telling them to do this. I'm not even being mean and saying go get a dictionary to look up the damn word.
I'm sure I've mentioned this. I feel like I mention this all the time. But I read an article a couple years back at this point that said that some research was done that showed that humans are forgetting. They can't retain
research?
They can't.
How to research? No. Oh, they're forgetting.
They can't retain information, but their ability to find information has increased exponentially because of you don't need to know dates and places because you can just Google it faster than you could actually remember it, right? Yeah. And so people can search
it's the
information.
Phone number thing.
Yeah.
You used to be able to remember like a ton of different phone numbers. Now I'm like, I got to remember at least 3.
Yeah.
I still remember my friends because that's why I use that Safeway, and it's the only phone number I remember because it's the only number I ever called.
You ever called? Yeah.
So out of all these fucks who hate YouTube, I'm probably the only one here that watches a whole lot of it.
I don't hate it. Just don't watch it.
I'm just making fun of you guys. All right. Yeah. No, I use YouTube for a lot. Fixing the car,
yes,
bunch of stuff. I mean, video games, Pikmin. Thank you, YouTube.
Again, I use it.
For it. Yeah,
I don't watch any of these like channels that people.
With all of that said, I think I'm the only one here that actually watches YouTube. Like I find things I watch. I don't know any of those shows that you mentioned. I did like Grace Randolph for a while. I don't know what she does anymore. For a while, I was watching her stuff, and I thought she was pretty even with her opinions and fair with him. Not necessarily all the opinion or all the categories that she would do videos on I cared about, but the ones I watched, I thought she was very fair on. So I like those. I thought they were really well done, very, very well executed. I just don't like watching any of those high school kids just blabbing around what they're feeling about. But the well done, like, they put thought into it. They actually, put a product out I really, really like. So Grace Randolph did some good stuff for Midtown Comics. I mean, that's where they filmed. I don't even know. Some comic book store in New York. I also like watching shows on YouTube, which is kind of like actual like people independent stuff that they want to do, and short films. Like I watch a lot of fan films. Half of them I think I could do better, and half of them I think they're really well done. Yeah, but I really, really like Mythomania, which is about basically it's Derek Kirk King, who actually illustrated one of Ji Yang's comic books. He also has a couple of graphic novels out himself, but he decided that he wanted to try, do a TV show, but on his own. So, YouTube show instead. So he did one called Mythomania, which is about an independent comic book artist who basically wants to win an Eisner Award. And it basically goes through pain and struggles of, these four friends are, do comic books. They draw with each other like every week and stuff. And, their little trials and tribulations. I thought that was really cool and a very well done show. It had a second season, which he just made it up into a movie about the other characters. So there's like 4 characters, and I think over time maybe he gets to the other 2 as well. So I really enjoyed that one. Then then we go into other stuff like K-Town Cowboys is a show I really enjoy about a couple friends in K-Town, LA. Really well done. They just recently got to make a movie out of it. So there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube. It's whether or not you get to see it, and I think there's a lot of independent stuff on YouTube that I really like to check out.
So I have to take it back. I did follow Robert Llewellyn's channel for a while.
Oh, from Iverdorf.
Of course.
Nice. Let's see. Let's hit up a couple of these Twitter questions. It's from Tyler on Twitter. He says, how do you feel about $2.99 twice monthly comics like DC's doing with Rebirth versus $3.99 monthly? Do you think it'll affect your customers or sales?
Less money is always better.
So $3.99 for one comic a month is better than $2.99 for 2 comics?
No. I mean, $2.99 price point for comic books is always better, in my opinion.
I think people will look at a $2.99 comic and say, I'm much more happy to pay that price, even if it's twice a month, because you are...
Well, most of them don't realize it will be twice a month, I think.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I do have many customers who have told me they wish DC would put digital codes in their comics because they like redeeming those digital codes.
Yep.
And at that point, they would be $3.99 probably, and probably couldn't justify the twice a month for most of those titles, but maybe they could. I don't know. I think you could do it. I think at this point, you have one of those 2 options. The $2.99 monthly is just not bringing in the money, and the $3.99 twice a month would be, that's too much. That's just too much. I don't think... I mean, Marvel has cut their double shipping on almost all their titles. Very few comics double ship now. They used to, and it worked really well, but now, for some reason, they've cut them all back. So
I actually don't mind if the double shipping is on the first arc, and then they slow down. Because just to get people really involved with the story...
I guess that kind of seems like what's been going on.
Yeah. So that actually... just to get you really hooked in, as opposed to having to wait a month and maybe forgetting about the story. Yeah. I actually don't mind the double shipping if it's only for the first, few of them.
That also brings
back
the
when
trade out faster.
Yeah.
Back when Ultimate Spider-Man first started, I really liked the 18 issues a year that they were doing on that book.
Plus, it was good.
If you have the right creative team and stuff going where you can sort of churn out more than 1 book a month, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
It's just, don't start putting crap artists on there. If you keep the quality up, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And that's all it really comes down to.
It's from Wesley. Says, with little money, I don't read many comics, maybe 4 to 6 trades a year. You guys are my prime source for comic news. Thanks.
For news?
He says thanks. So what's the best way to read on a budget? And since everyone has had that point in their life, probably, how did you guys do it?
On the bus?
Budget.
Oh, on a budget.
Read on a budget.
Oh.
See, I
was on a budget, that's why I was on the bus. So.
I feel like right now, if you want to read on a budget, so much easier than 20 years ago. Because even 10 years ago. Because 10, 15 years ago, or even longer, when I was a kid, you didn't. You read the couple comics you could afford. Get a job at a comic store. Then you could read more comics sometimes.
You wonder why I'm here?
Some comic stores allow you to read. Some comic stores don't, if you're the employee.
Plus, you get a discount sometimes.
Yeah. But, I mean, today you have straight-up pirating.
Yeah.
You have a Marvel Unlimited. So if you want to do that, you have sales of Comixology, so you can spend 99 cents on a comic. So
come out to the sales here when we have $quarter outside.
Yeah, just grab a shitload of stuff. Yeah.
That as a kid when money was really, really tight on books, I used to go to like search and use bookstores that would just get in these comic collections, and I would literally just buy whatever series of issues I could. Like it was always like, oh, they have 6 issues of Spider-Man $20.99. Here, I'll buy that. They have 5 issues of this. Here, I'll buy that.
Quarter bids are my everything I did when I was a kid. That's how I started my run of Avengers. Avengers and New Teen Titans came out of quarter bins, and that's how I was reading.
I think I was at Walgreens, and they have this pile of comics that was like 3 for $1 or something. Yeah, I think I used to do that. Yep. But funny that you mentioned used bookstores. I didn't go there for a discount necessarily, but when I was reading back in Switzerland, there's not a whole lot of material out there. So basically every month I get the book, and that would be it. What I did, though, was go to used bookstores and get the previous ones that basically are gone. Like, it's not like here you could have a store and have back issues. So I would go to the used bookstores and find these old trades and, like, slowly backfill my past up. So that was kind of cool, just to go digging for them.
Yeah.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Marvel and DC wikis.
You don't even need to read the comic books anymore. You just read the wiki page.
Go on Twitter, go on forums, right? I mean, people talk about these comics. Go read reviews, right? I mean, you could keep up with them without actually reading them.
It used to be called a Visit magazine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what...
Message us on Twitter about what you're thinking.
No, like for me, it's I was out for a little while, and it was when it wasn't easy to do this. So I would go to a shop and I'd look at a couple things, I'd grab a couple things in a Wizard magazine to kind of see what was going on. But nowadays, it's great with you don't necessarily need to have to read everything because they're so good at bringing the trades out now that catching up. When I got back in, catching up was a little bit easier.
Well, you're talking about on a budget now, though, right?
Yeah. On a budget, I mean, going back to that pirating thing for a second, obviously I don't recommend pirating comic books, but I do want to be very clear about something. I don't know what the current number is. The last time I looked at it, that weekly comics torrent had something like 30,000 seater or 30,000 liters or something like that. That was a couple of years back. I have no idea what it's at these days. I just don't check anymore.
I have seen them within the last couple of years, and it tends to be one or two guys, guys or girls, someone who somehow they get every single comic that comes out. They bundle them together so you can get your Marvel torrent, your DC torrent, all your independents. You can get all of them from every week.
Right.
Whatever one that I saw was over 50,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even count people who are just
randomly get them. Yeah. But you have to be honest.
Thank you for making $3.99 books at this point.
Well, those 50,000 or more subscribers, the vast, I would say 99% of those people would not buy those comics anyway, right? Yeah. Whether they had the money or didn't have the money or wanted to, so you're not losing 50,000 sales when someone downloads one of those torrents. More than likely, the person is only reading a couple of those comics anyway. It's unlikely they're even reading everything.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say, you download it. It comes with 15 to 25 books, and you just download the entire thing rather than picking and choosing what you actually want to read. Yeah. So then you've just got a ton of shit.
And this is why
years later, anyway.
And this is why I firmly believe that the internet gets like really crazy on these books. And then you see they sold like 6,000 copies, and you're like, but their Tumblr has like 150,000 followers. Where are they? Oh, none of them actually buy the comic. So it's your fault.
That's part of what I'm always curious about, just because.
And they wouldn't buy the comic anyway. So.
Skull Kickers, as one of the comics I really, really enjoy. The writer of that, Jim Zub, has all sorts of statistics on his website.
Yeah, he's very public about that. Yeah.
Around that. I mean, he's talked about like, okay, this is what happened after we released the trade. This is hardcover sales. And he's tracked that over time. And like one of the things that's on his timeline is when he started putting out the early issues of Skull Kickers for free. Mm-hmm. And how that actually improved his sales of the book as people went out to buy the trades and that kind of stuff. Back when, to go back to Ultimate Spider-Man, just because I can, At the time, Marvel was actually putting that online for free. Like, officially, they had this, like, guided view thing before Comixology, before all of that. And that allowed me to catch up on that book. I started buying the hardcovers, and I started buying the single issues here. And that's all because they made it available for me for free to start with, that I started going, yes, this is worth my money. I fully believe that if somebody's getting enough enjoyment out of the book and they can afford to buy the book, they will.
Right.
Now, they might buy it on Comixology, they might buy it in trade, they'll buy it some way, somehow, but I that's, for me, why I don't get super worried about the idea of piracy, just because as much as you want to be able to say that it really, really hurts the industry, I've seen more evidence that as long as you're putting out good stuff, it will help your stuff.
You know, it's like Game of Thrones. HBO can't be worried about the millions of people that pirate that show because they're already worrying about the tens and hundreds of millions of people that legally watch it, right? I mean...
And even then, it's one of those things of... It's got a massive amount of piracy and all that, and a massive word of mouth, and... when the Blu-rays come out, those always do really well. I mean, at this point, it's... why would you go after your target audience who very likely are giving you money on merchandise and all this other stuff?
Well, the merch is, I think, where, 50,000 people from Tumblr may be pirating Squirrel Girl and they're not going to buy the comic, but they're probably buying the shirts from We Love Fine. So, that's
I thought I heard somewhere in regards to like video game ROMs that the theory was if you download a ROM but you have the actual cartridge, people kind of don't consider it piracy because you already own a physical copy of it. You're kind of just downloading a digital backup version. Yeah, I know. Technically, yes. Technically, yes.
The thing that I have actually come across is downloading is not illegal. Uploading is. That's the problem.
I mean, the other thing is a lot of those have always had little disclaimers that, because from what I understand, especially when it comes to the world of physical media, there's some sort of law in there that basically says that you're allowed to create a backup.
Yeah.
So a lot of those times when it comes to the official purpose of allowing you to download the ROM is it's supposed to be represent your backup.
Yeah. There's no legal gray area. It's 100% illegal and 100% wrong. That said, who cares?
Well, I was going to say, I know a lot of people that download episodes of Game of Thrones, but then they go and buy the Blu-ray or DVD sets when they come out because they want... I mean, unless you're ripping the Blu-ray and DVD sets directly to your computer, you want a digital copy of it as well as the physical copy.
Right. Well, technically, buying the physical copy in the law is you're buying a license to the movie. And that's the license is the physical media. So technically, when you go and rip it at that point, you're breaking the license. Hence,
right.
Where the gray area starts happening. That's why I mean, in
it's not even a gray area.
It's in the name of the law. You're fucked. Right. I understand in your heart you're not thinking you're doing bad things because you're still giving them money, but in the law you're fucked.
Yeah. But I mean. The thing is they go after the uploaders, not the downloaders, because the downloaders you can't control. The uploaders are the people that are actually...
they've tried to go after the downloaders.
They tried, and it doesn't work.
It backfires.
Yeah.
They go after... In terms of the download stuff, the only time I've heard them really go after the downloaders is when something failed so miserably they were trying to cast that net that basically to go to each of those people and be like, well, we'll settle this out of court and all that for this much lower sum than you would technically get hit at if you're found guilty of. Yeah.
I mean, Civil War is online. Yeah. Civil War is online right now. You can watch Civil War. It's a shitty Russian cam job with guys walking in front of the camera and or whatever. But if you really want to, it's online. Go find it. I mean, I'd much rather pay $13, sit in a giant movie theater, and watch it with all my friends.
The thing is
then we'll buy it on
Blu-ray. And then we'll buy it on Black Friday again because we forgot we had it. And then we'll buy the 20th anniversary
collection.
Yeah, I'll buy the 4K version, then the 8K version, then the 12K version.
The thing is like it's one of those things where like we always watch the San Diego Comic-Con trailers, right? That are on the little... Because it's...
Oh, we didn't even talk about this. Did you guys hear about like everyone pulling out of Hall H? Apparently,
what?
Because they can't. They're like, we can't secure your footage. Like, leaks are going to happen. So either Fox pulled out, right? And did someone else pull out?
There was some talk
like
around
Universal
it.
or something. Like some other company I thought pulled out.
There was some talk that Disney might.
Disney makes sense.
Disney's not even going to be there because they have
Disney makes sense. So they got their own.
They have
convention.
D23 right before it. Yeah, their D23 is right
the
before.
The Fox thing is funny as hell though because that Deadpool trailer made that movie though.
Release it everywhere.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
It made the movie.
Hall H. Charlie, you should eat off the podcast. Hall H. This isn't the Eat Box. Hall H.
It's Star Wars jelly beans.
Hall H. An hour later, it's online. Like, that's all you need. They get their exclusive for an hour.
One of the best things was when the I forget what movie, Iron Man 2, or there was some Marvel trailer that got leaked, and Marvel's official response was
Hail Hydra.
Damn Hydra.
Damn Hydra. Yeah.
That was perfect.
And then what? Yeah, and then they released the legitimate
right
earlier
away
than they wanted to, but
yeah.
they made what, lemonade out of lemons.
So that was
the next year.
Suicide Squad.
To DC, and
they got all pissed off.
They're trying to take it down from YouTube, and
Marvel in that case, that's the correct mode. It's funny. They played with it. They released it. They had so much hype. DC, I mean, they obviously had hype with the Suicide Squad, but they totally played that wrong. They should have just been like, damn Joker, and just released the trailer, right? I mean, it would have been funny. That would have been really funny.
Damn Marvel.
Yeah.
So, and this is sort of a semi-gray area to me because I appreciate the fact that they want to bring something to fans at Comic-Con and all that, and I love being there and I love watching it and stuff. If you really don't feel like that is ready for mass consumption, just don't bring it to Comic-Con.
But that's the whole point, that they do bring it to Comic-Con.
And
it's usually
that's sort of the weird sort of gray area to me because like I understand a lot of the stuff that goes to Comic-Con, they want to polish up more, or they haven't finished the special effects on it, and that's a large part of the reason why they're like, we don't want this leaked. It's going to look like crap over your phones, and we're not ready to let people fully examine this in high def and all that. And that's
because people do that on YouTube channels.
Pretty much fine, but I don't think you have to pull out Stephen Moffat was very, very upfront with like fans and stuff there. And from what I understand, he stopped bringing footage. He hasn't stopped going to Comic-Con. But he stopped bringing exclusive footage that would only be shown in Hall H or whatnot because if he wasn't ready for it to be leaked, he's just not going to bring it there because it will get leaked. It doesn't mean he has to stop going to Comic-Con. It just means he's kind of accepted. He will only bring stuff that he's ready to release.
Yeah. Well, everything gets leaked from Comic-Con. Sorry, guys. Get used to it. Or just release it yourself.
So that was comics on a budget, right?
That's comics on a budget.
That's how we got there.
That's how we got there. Don't pirate. You're already pirating, so I guess you're not going to stop. But you should buy some comics, too. You should go to Free Comic Day at your local comic shop on Saturday and get some free comics legally. Just don't take the ones off the shelf. Take the ones that specifically say free comic books on them.
Are all the comics free? Oh.
So every year I get one. Last year we only got one. And it took a couple hours, but every year we get at least one that are like, everything free?
Right before your sale, there was one guy who came in here and I had to explain to him 3 times, not all the comics will be a quarter, just the ones outside.
Jeez. Ay. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Before we do, we have to thank all our good friends from Patreon, end of the month. So we got a whole bunch of people to thank here. So so put on some music, get ready, kick back.
One of them's here too, right?
You are. Patreon.com/ComicConspiracy. If you're a fan of this podcast, you can donate to us for as little as $1 a month. Get these guys some money to buy some comics illegally. Pays for our pizza, pays for our hosting, all that jazz. We love you guys so much. And even though a few of these people are not back at the higher level, it's perfectly fine because we're going to thank them all anyway. We had some problems with our we missed like a week last month, so I'm going to kind of push everyone here up a little bit further. Let's talk to our good friend Albert Soy, or talk about our good friend Albert Soy. He's at Plant Everywhere on iTunes. And man, dude's supposed to be hooking me up with a bunch of stuff. So Albert, you gotta get your ball rolling. I'm leaving in a couple days. Jody Lawson, Ken in the Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicsstudio.com. Make sure you go check that out. look up their comics on there. John Nesmith, Drinking with Batman podcast at drinkingwithbatman.libsyn.com.
That's a great name.
Yeah, it is a great name. Peter Blanco has Nerded Up TV on YouTube. It's youtube.com/nerd.
I wonder if that other guy
TV.
is watching this channel.
Yes, so if you like YouTube celebrities, you could watch Nerded Up by Peter Blanco and his friends that work on that. Julian Titus is the Nerds Without Pants podcast.
No pants.
.com. I think we're going to have him back on when I come back.
He's coming back?
Huh?
You coming back?
Am I coming back?
No, he's coming back?
Oh, yes, we're going to have him back on.
Oh, nice.
pretty soon.
Hopefully
back,
Ryan's coming back.
I'm coming back as well.
Damn it.
So,
Hopefully a volcano doesn't erupt,
Yeah.
or
well,
No, he'll just
Are you
get
gonna come
engulfed
back?
by Disney World.
the Banshee's going to get me in Ireland.
Are you going to come back like Karen and have like an accent?
Alice?
Oh, Alice?
Have an
Are you going
accent,
to come back
yeah.
with an Irish accent?
Yes, I will.
if you come
Hello,
back with an
matey.
accent, I'm giving you shit.
Joshua Redding, he's got a podcast called Tangent Break. That's on iTunes. Make sure you check that out.
You know, if he comes back with a accent, we have to record the podcast
Yeah.
Right away.
right then. Don't give it time
I was
to
gonna
wear
fake
off.
I was gonna fake an accent, but I can't even do it. Twilight of Ages and Dawn of Darkness.
Wait.
Those are
Tangent
his-
Break guy has 2 books.
He
or
does
3 or 4.
Twilight of
listening
Ages
right
and Dawn of
Oh, I just fucked it up.
Twilight of Ages and Dawn of Darkness. Those are on Amazon. Make sure you check those out. Joshua Redding, that's his name.
Awesome.
Mario Miranda, that Mild Fuzz podcast network, mildfuzz.org. All sorts of podcasts on there for you to check out, as well as on YouTube. Just search for Mild Fuzz. Manoa plays Sam Shea, Robert Danum, and Scott Dryman. Nothing to plug. They're just like to give us money, so thank you guys very much. We appreciate all of you and all of our great mid-tier backers, including one that's sitting right here, so I won't be make them too embarrassed. Why do you give us money? You already give me money. You already buy comics for me. You don't have to do this too.
But now he's giving the rest of us money.
I
That's
guess.
true.
I
Well,
guess.
but
More directly giving the rest of us money.
You can just
He
come in
indirectly
here-
gives it to us the other way.
You can come in here every week and be like, Toby, here's $1. Charlie, here's $1.
Well, I mean,
Bryce,
that'd be
here's
funny.
$1.
I
That'd be
also,
kinda
like how he
guess I
leaves
also
me out
kind
of
of
it.
paid for this pizza.
Did you
tonight,
really?
Too, so.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, part of that.
Oh,
Pay for
okay.
part of it.
Yeah.
So all sorts of good friends. A lot of these guys have been backing us forever here. We got Mike Conrad, Mark Long, Edgar Moreno, Kevin Nguyen, Blake Etheridge, Christopher Stone, Wesley Thon, Mario Miranda, Mike Campbell, David Safar, Christopher Noyes, Eric Cavox. I'm terrible pronouncing everyone's name. I'm so sorry. Alex McHale, Joel Jimenez, Armando Tostani, Ivan Lescanic, Chris Palake. I pronounced your name correct the other weeks. I forgot this week. I'm sorry.
Mockingbird is his sister.
Yeah. Aaron Wright, Jason Thomas, Ocularis, Matthew Schnapp, Santiago Mendez, Paula Schultz, Sloan, Peter Parker, Father Dante, Don Kilson, John G, and Dennis Jansen. Thank you
I
all.
like how we have a DC
Very-
and Marvel representative
Yeah,
on our
yeah,
list there.
yeah.
We should have a good list of names.
All sorts of
Those
cool.
are some awesome
I
names.
say David Safar
hard for-
should just
hard
be
for
only
Red
known
Hat.
as Red Hat Man
Red
for
Hat
that
That's part of what makes them awesome.
Those are all the greatest people on earth. Thank you all very much for giving us a little bit of your money every month, and hopefully this podcast.
Thank you.
Hopefully you don't hate it. We should also wrap up and mention the other stuff here as I open the text file. Here we go.
Well,
Because
we need to let them know what's going on for the month of May.
after 259 of these episodes, I just don't remember anymore. I just go on autopilot because I have to read this because I'm like, what do we do? We have
But we need to remind them about May.
May.
Yeah, because we're not having we're going to have
We have our Civil War episode
Civil
next
War
Tuesday,
episode.
and then we're
That'd be
having,
Ryan's last podcast.
and then we have a Q&A episode after that.
Which
we have
Ryan's going to mysteriously be back for.
Yeah, I'm coming flying all the way back here for that.
Oh, that's right.
And on the 24th, we have our good friend Ryan Scott from the Geekbox podcast is going to be hosting a very special episode as Ryan, Toby, and I'm assuming Charlie.
Yeah.
It'll
will
be only
on.
about Suicide Squad.
Well, that was his joke. You guys will be talking about DC Rebirth, which comes in that day. Well, technically that midnight it comes out. But you guys are gonna record the podcast.
I've already read it. So.
Yeah, and discuss that as well as whatever else you want to talk about. I'm sure Suicide Squad will be brought up because that's Ryan. And then, assuming I'm not horribly jet lagged,
Yes, you are coming back, even if we have to
31st.
drag you down here.
I'll be back next week
Oh, he's just going to Skype in.
to talk more about Rebirth. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So,
With an Irish accent, or a British one,
Yeah.
or a French one.
and for French.
It'd be
one,
like
yeah.
combined.
Yeah, you could be Electra.
No, I want his accent to weirdly change as he's talking.
because
Maybe
Irish-
Highlander.
Yeah, I was gonna say from many.
I got that.
all
I
sorts
bought
of
it.
different
I got,
places.
I
It was
got lots of
$5.
accents.
The Blu-ray was $5
Highlander's
at
fantastic.
Target.
It's been $5 for ages at Target.
Highlander's so
what?
good.
The Highlander's been $5 at Target for ages.
I know. I finally saw it. I was like, oh,
that
cool.
one movie they did called Highlander that had no sequels, cartoons, or TV show spinoffs is such a good movie. I love it.
The director's cut is okay.
What are you talking about? I wonder why they never made more.
You're so trolling.
And animes and comic books.
There was never any of those either.
You're so trolling.
You think one day?
There are some games, card games.
One day you think they would, but
The Otacon was in the TV show, and then they made more movies.
Geekbox.net, iTunes, and comicconspiracypodcast.com. That's where you can find all our previous episodes. Make sure you go on there and listen to all of them. Like a few other people have told us they've done
Apparently, it
recently.
takes 5 months.
Geekbox is .net, isn't it?
Geekbox.net, iTunes, and comicconspiracypodcast.com. Forums at geekbox.net and the Geekbox and Comic Conspiracy Facebook group. This is where you can go talk to all our lovely listeners. Go on there, say hello. Digital,
and occasionally even us.
Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. Go buy some digital comics.
That one still works?
Yeah? What do you mean? Why wouldn't it work?
Well, because it's comics retailer or comicsology or comicsconspiracy.comic retailers.
That's the actual
one. Okay,
site.
yeah.
This is the quick redirect from our site. Yeah, Patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. Again, go there. Throw some money at us. ConspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's video pull list and blog. Go on there and see whatever he does on there. Well, Hunter is in the Fourth Dimension podcast. That's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast.
Yay.
You can check that out. Etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. Go on there and buy some art from her. It's my lovely wife. Just don't do it for the next 3 weeks because you won't get it for a while. But you can do it after that. I'm on Twitter, Ryan Higgins. Ryan Brock is Brock Sager. Bryce, who actually won't be on for a couple episodes. Larson Bryce. Toby's Toby XI. Charlie's...
He'll be on next week.
No, he won't be.
No, next one. After that.
Yeah, he'll be back in 2 weeks.
Oh.
Charlie's Insanity and Chaos.
Whatever.
The store is Comics Con Store. Chris is Darth Chris 4. Correct. Yeah.
If you're local and watch the news on Sunday and saw a cripple being interviewed about the Warriors, that's actually me. It did happen.
You're on TV.
Yeah.
You're famous.
Yeah.
Geekbox Comedy Button, Good Job Brain, All Talk Podcast, Manga Machinations. Those are the podcasts on the network. Make sure you listen to those. Don't forget Free Comic Day is this Sunday or Saturday. Sorry, go down to all your local comic shops, get some free comics. Don't be a jerk. And go watch Civil War. Yeah. That comes out this Thursday, 2 days from now.
For those of you who
it comes out in 2 days. Holy crap!
Yeah. For those of you who live across the pond from us over here, be on the lookout because Higgins is going to be in your. It might be in your area.
Yeah, if you see me. If you're randomly wandering around
in the countryside with the cows,
famous historical landmarks in Europe, and you see a guy that is probably wearing a Flash T-shirt, shout Bazinga at me, and if I turn around and punch you in the face, it's probably me. So that's what you should do. All right, see you next week.